Today I'm going to show you how to build a basic barn door and hang it yourself. Get my free plans and detailed tutorial in my blog post at h2obungalow.com. Search building a barn door. I built these doors for closets. They are 29 inches wide and 81 inches tall. It's easy to modify them from the plans in my blog post. The first thing you'll do is cut your wood to size. You'll cut 6 1-inch by 6-inch pine tongue and groove boards to 81 inches. Next, you'll cut 2 rails from 1-inch by 6-inch or 1-inch by 4-inch down to 28 inches. Now you'll grab 2 of the 1-inch by 6-inch by 81-inch long boards and you'll rip them down to 3.5 inches so that each one fits on the outer side of your door. Do not count the tongue or the groove portion in your 3.5-inch measurement. I added a 1/4-inch chamfer at the end of each rail. To make a chamfer, you'll make a 1/4-inch mark from the edge of each rail end. Set your miter saw to 45 degrees and then trim. I torched my wood for my doors. If you plan on painting your barn doors, skip over this step. If you're torching your wood or staining your wood, you'll want to do this now. The reason you'll add your torched finish or stained finish now is that so when the wood shrinks slightly, the untorched wood or unstained wood won't show through the joints. Looking back, this project would have gone a lot faster if I'd used one of the large torches attached to a propane tank. The small hand torch was very time-consuming and took forever to get through 2 doors. Here's a few tips on torching wood. First, try a test piece of wood and burn different levels to get the look you want. Then, know that torching works best when the wood is at an angle like you see here. Start from the bottom and work your way up. Always try to get an even burn on the surface for this finish you're going for. And last, don't forget to torch the ends of the sides of your wood and your project pieces so that they show evenly as well. After torching, you'll scrape the wood to reveal the soft, non-charred wood underneath. I tried several different scraping tools to see which worked the best. Ultimately, the small copper brush, along with the stiff brush, gave the best texture, but that's a personal preference. When you're scraping the wood, it's easiest if you lay the board across 2 sawhorses. It's pretty messy, so wear old clothes and an apron if you can. Start with the stiff brush first to remove the loosest charcoal, and follow that with the copper brush to expose the soft wood under the charring. To protect and enhance the torched wood, I used boiled linseed oil. Wear gloves and apply it with a rag. Wait a few minutes and go back over the wood with a clean rag to remove any excess oil that wasn't absorbed into the wood. Now your barn door is ready to be assembled. You'll lay the slats together and mark the location for the top and bottom rail. Mine are 9 inches from each end. Apply wood glue to the tongue of each slat before pulling them together. Use bar clamps to cinch the slats at each end of the door. And yes, I made a mistake cutting. I was able to find that piece and glue it back. It happens to everybody at one point or another. Now you'll attach the crossbar or the door rail. The rails can be attached with screws coming from the back of the door or onto the front of the door. I attached my rails to the front of the door with the screws in the front. Drill pilot holes with a 1/8 inch drill bit and attach the rails with 1 1/4 inch screws. Use at least 2 screws per each door slat. Your barn door is now ready for hanging. I used a header above my door opening to hold my barn door rail. I covered the attachment choices in my blog post on h2obungalow.com. Here's an easy way to install a barn door rail by yourself and get it level. Mark a straight line using a level where the rail will attach to the header. Mark the first and the last pilot hole positions. Next, drive a 2 to 3 inch screw into the first pilot hole mark and hang the rail on that screw. Attach the other end of the rail to the wall with the included bolt into the first pilot hole. Don't tighten it all the way. Your bolt will have a spacer similar to this, and the wide end will go against the wall. Next, you'll rest a level on top of the rail and test the first pilot hole to see if anything needs to be adjusted. You'll drill your pilot hole and attach that end of the rail loosely. Now that the two ends are attached, you can attach the center bolts. The last thing you'll do is tighten all of the bolts evenly. Now you'll add the barn door hardware. If you've changed my plans, you'll want to check to be sure you have enough clearance for your rollers to fit on the door track and that the door moves freely and sits 1/2 inch off the floor. To attach the hanging roller hardware, I've made a mark 6 inches down and 3 inches in from the outside on each side of the door. Make your pilot holes with a smaller drill bit like 1/8 inch, followed by a drill bit that's as large as your bolt. I had to use shorter bolts than what came with the set to fit my 3/4 inch thick door. It wasn't an issue. You can find these at the hardware store. Now you'll attach the door handle. Left or right doesn't matter. It's personal preference. Last, you'll attach the floor guide and the door bumpers. The floor guide will stop the door from swinging out and help keep it on the track above. Attach the floor guide to the wall so the base of the sliding barn door stays within the door guide when it's open and when it's closed. I attached mine to the door trim and adjusted it afterwards. The last thing you'll do is to attach the bumpers onto the rail. They'll slide at each end and you'll tighten them, which prevents the door from falling off the track. Don't forget you can download my instructions and supply list on my blog post at h2obungalow.com. Search DIY Barn Door. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe to my blog, H2O Bungalow, where you'll find over 400 home improvement and home decor projects. And subscribe to me here on YouTube, H2O Bungalow. Thanks for joining me here today, and we'll see you soon.